Now I'm going to take a moment to look at some additional data types, in particular tuples and sets. So go ahead and open up a new Colab notebook, and let's call it tuples and sets since both will be in here. Okay, so tuples, sets. What the heck are these things? Let's get right into it. Here's a little subheader, start with tuples. Okay. Basically, tuples are lists that are unchangeable. Okay. So let's look at an example. Sorry, I'm taking a moment here. So you could have a coordinate like, how about point? You could have a point, and the point could be the tuple 2, comma 3. So the idea there is that there's like an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Note that it uses parentheses. Okay. So here's a tuple. Okay, and that's what, tuples are actually common for xy coordinates. Okay, and really all you do is access the individual element, and you do it the same way you would for list. So the 0th member is 2, and the first member is 3. Okay, so that's tuples. So access first element of tuple, access second. And note also that tuples could have any length. They could be any length that you want. They don't have to be only have a length of 2. They could be longer. So again, the only difference between that and a list is that, because it is ordered, is that in a list, lists are designed to be changeable and tuples are not. Okay, so I'm not going to do this now, but you could consider on your own challenge. Write function that computes distance between two tuples, right? Which uses the distance formula via the Pythagorean theorem. You can also do taxicab distance, might be a little bit easier. In fact, let's do that one together. I'll just show you. You might be wondering, what's he talking about? Taxicab distance. Is this a thing? Yes, it actually is a legitimate distance metric. So we'll add a new coding cell, plus code, and write function to compute taxicab distance between two tuples. Simply put, it's like the x minus the x and the y minus the y. You only do horizontal and vertical. You don't actually do the, and then you sum them. You don't actually compute the line between them. Okay. So definition, taxicab, and then what should the inputs be? They should be two tuples here. So you can have tuple 1 and tuple 2. And then we're going to compute the individual distances. So the x distance, move this on up, is, oh wait, I called it tuple 1 and tuple 1. It should be tuple 1 and tuple 2. Well, x is the first member, so, if you like tuple 2, see, this is the x value of tuple 2 because that's getting the first index, right, the 0th one. Okay, and you just subtract it from the other one. Okay, so that's the x difference, you could say. What do we call it? But distance and difference are actually the same here. Made mistake. Tuple 1. And then the y distance is very similar to the point where I'm going to copy it. Now it messes up the tabbing. That will mess up the code. Python has to be tabbed correctly. And then it's the y distance equals tuple 1 minus, well, it's the first index. One other thing with these is that when you're computing distance is actually always positive. It's never negative. So the way around that, there's actually a global absolute value function. Okay, so that's going to enforce positivity. So in effect, the order doesn't matter. You get positivity. And then the taxicab distance is simply you sum the two distances. Okay, so it's x distance plus y distance. That's what you return. Pretty cool, huh? So let's try it. Shift enter, worked. Taxi cab. Now I gotta put tuples in there, okay? I'm gonna do one that I can actually check. So I'm gonna do the point. Now, do you see the parentheses? Gotta have double parentheses in there because tuples are in parentheses. So 0, 0 at the origin. And then I want to do like go over 3 and up 4 to do the Pythagorean thing. And so that'll end up at the point like 3, 4. Should call this taxi cab distance. Okay, shift enter. I get 7, which is the correct result. Note that that is greater than 5 because, you know, 5 would be your straightest shot between the 2 points. Taxi cab distance is actually longer. Why is it called taxi cab distance? Can you all tell? Because you can't cut through buildings. If you're taxi cab, you'd have to go that way. Okay, so that's a little bit on tuples. And somewhat briefly, let's now go over sets. Add a new, which one is it? Text cell, sets. And I'm just going to show you what they are. What are sets? Well, here's an example of a set. How about I just throw in a bunch of primes here? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. 11 again, whatever, 13. Show the primes. So by the way, this is the syntax for set. It's the squiggly brackets, but unlike a dictionary, there's no colons separating the values. So it's only squiggly brackets with no colons, then it's a set. If it's empty, it's going to like interpret it. I think it's a dictionary usually, but it's just empty otherwise. But look what happens. 11 is not repeated. So that's the difference between sets and lists, really. Sets do not allow repeats. Okay. And set is actually a technical term in math. Some of you may have seen some set theory. And so, you're just like, what are the elements in the set? It's the primes that are there. It's not, duplicates. Duplicates don't count. So whenever you want to erase duplicates, you can make something a set. So, for instance, if you had like, it happens, the repeats happen, okay? Like you want to get the unique colors from this. It's a list, okay? Green, blue, blue. Imagine there's a ton, okay? And you want to get the unique ones. We'll turn it into a set using the keyword set. So set of colors. Blue and green. How about that? Pretty cool, huh? So use set to get unique members from list. And of course, you could use the list keyword. Check this out. You could use the list keyword to turn it back. So for instance, you can do list set colors. Isn't that cool? And then it eliminates it. And it's still a list. So there you have 2 new data types, tuples and sets.